Hey, how's it going, everyone? Dustin here from 0 Second Cooldown. Probably heard my chair just creak. And today, as you can probably see by the glorious image I have on my stream, SteamOS was announced by Valve. And so I'm just gonna for a little bit, maybe like a half hour or something, just sort of, just talk about it, think about what this could mean for PC with the other because there's two more announcements that I was going to make this week, what those could be. So just sort of looking at this, I actually think it's pretty interesting. I mean, I am a fan of Linux. I use Ubuntu. I have used it in the past. I have it on my PC, though I don't really use it much at the moment. I'm going to be using it for programming as soon as I start that up again. And so, I mean, just for the beginning, if I can use IDEs on it, then I mean, I'll probably use that a lot. Probably just switch the Ubuntu for that. And so basically I think just like the whole main point around this is that it'll sort of feature as a streaming type OS. Like, I think the idea is that you would have your Windows machine and then you would use SteamOS to stream from that machine if I've got it correct. I mean, I believe that's the case. Maybe I'm just completely off somehow, but this is just sort of like what seems to be the case from looking at NeoGAF. And I think it's definitely an interesting idea. It sort of depends on how latency is handled, because obviously that's going to be an important part. I mean, if I'm, say for whatever reason I decide to play PC Street Fighter 4, if I have to deal not only with online lag, but just latency from the fact that the game is being streamed, then that's not gonna be good. I'm probably not gonna. I wouldn't play that version. I have to deal with basically double the lag. But if it's for something like, I don't know, just some like a Call of Duty, or well, maybe not Call of Duty, but just who knows, like just something, Fallout or something. Who knows, BioShock Infinite, whatever. Then it could be a good way to sort of get something onto a big screen. I think. I mean, that would definitely be nice. It just depends on how Valve handles the sort of input lag that would go from streaming. But I mean, I would assume that they sort of have this thought out, because Valve doesn't exactly see. Valve always seems like the company where they want to make sure something is ready before they go through something big like this. And I mean, obviously, stuff like the trading cards and the family share sort of been like going into beta and stuff, but obviously something like an OS is something you have to be a lot more prepared for. And they also looking at the little website for that, music, TV, and movies. So they work with media services. I'm pretty interested in that. I mean, I think there was someone on NeoGAF found it in the some sort of beta thing about how they're working with Spotify, and I was thinking that it would either be that, Pandora, or Rdio, I think you pronounce it. I don't know, just one of those other music services. Yeah, they would probably be partnering with that. And I know Spotify has I don't use it, but I hear it's got a pretty good music library, I guess. So, getting that on their OS, that's pretty good. There's also something about importing an iTunes library. So I mean, just the fact that there's more options is always good, without a doubt. I mean, why wouldn't you want more options? And I mean, I guess it'll be seen what the type of TV and movie stuff there is. I would guess probably not Amazon. I would guess Netflix would probably be the main one, just because Hulu, I think, is a US only thing, I believe. I mean, I know people in Canada who can't use it. So, yeah, I mean, I guess Netflix and Spotify will probably be their two big go-afters, unless Amazon, for whatever reason, does do something with that. But after the sort of rumors of their console, I mean, who knows what they'll do. Obviously, I don't think just because of their console they would be outright prevent themselves from doing it, but you never know, I guess. I mean, I wouldn't expect them to be the first name to pop up for TV or movie streaming, as nice as it would be. And then also family sharing talks about. I mean, that's sort of been talked about a little bit. The whole you have, I think, 10 people. Is it the same as the Xbox One? I think it's 10 people you can sort of link machines with. It's with the magic Valve Voodoo, and yeah, basically just sort of share games. I think that's a really interesting concept, and I believe that definitely does a lot towards progressing the ideas of digital ownership, because now it is, at least in a way, it feels like it's a lot more than just having a license. If I'm able to essentially loan a digital game to a friend, it feels like that there's a lot more ownership that I have over that game. And I mean, I just think it'll be interesting. I mean, I don't think I have many friends that I'll be using it with. Who knows, maybe. Or I should say, I don't have many friends that I will get a lot from, because most friends I'm with, who I would share with, I already have a lot of the same games as them. I have more games than them. I have a problem. But, I mean, yeah, I think that's definitely really interesting. The fact that you can earn your own Steam achievements and Steam Cloud, I'm sure that was probably announced, but if not, I think that's just great, because then it's not like, oh, well, you played through this game for 10 hours, friend came on, you get booted off, and because you didn't buy the game, well, you're out of luck. So you know what, that's a great choice. I think Microsoft, with their whole DRM backpedal and getting rid of that, they really missed out on a big opportunity to be a sort of pioneer in this idea of the family sharing concept, and now Valve is able to swoop in, see the concept to fruition, and it could work really great. I mean, there's still the beta to see, so I guess just how that will go, it'll depend. But yeah, I mean, it'll be great. And then family options is the last one they cover in that link of little sections. And yeah, I mean, I think that's also just sort of a nifty idea, sort of an idea of profiles in a way. Just sort of, I can choose. It's actually in a way something I've sort of wanted, but in a different form. I've sort of wanted a list of, I could choose different groups of games, so I would know which ones I've beat or which ones I don't plan on playing for a while, which ones I plan to play for a long time. So I mean, that could sort of be like this, something like that I want. And then it also says more features, so I guess we'll find out what more features are. And they also say so you can get hundreds of great, I think there's like 500 games that run natively on Linux, something like that. It was 300 or 500. They're going to announce a bunch of AAA titles that will be coming in 2014. I think that's great. I guess that puts away some of the fear that some people might have of, oh, well, people might not support it. We might just get sort of smaller indie games or Kickstarter games that sort of meet the Linux stretch goal, the obligatory Linux stretch goal, and then Valve. And so by having this promise that there will be some number of AAA games, obviously big games, that is a big relief, I think, in the idea of sort of maybe not making the permanent switch to SteamOS, but at least using it, is how I see it. And I mean, I mean, they promise that they'll have regular additions and new features to the OS itself. That's great. What I would like to see, hopefully they'll talk about that soon, hopefully it's really soon, is something like the Ubuntu Software Center, where you can just sort of get little add-ons and whatnot, whether free or paid for. Because again, this also factors into the I want to get an IDE for SteamOS, assuming that it is nice and compatible with a PC, a desktop PC, not necessarily a home theater PC. And yeah, I mean, I think there's a lot of, overall there's a lot of potential with SteamOS. It's going to depend on how well Valve can use it and how much other developers use it, is how I see it. Because obviously, Steam is sort of the lead PC digital storefront now, as most people sort of know. At least for a lot of people it is, myself included. So they obviously have a lot of weight to pull, but it also means that they have to do a very good job sort of promoting this. They don't want it to fall flat. So I'm sure Gabe, whoever is sort of, yeah, probably Gabe, who is running this sort of quest towards Linux domination. I'm sure he's definitely trying to get prepared to make sure everything is going to run as smoothly as possible at this point, because this is something that they're really going to want to make sure works very well. I mean, this is an OS. This isn't exactly just a trading card beta. This is, or a mobile device beta. This is something that's far larger that who knows? I mean, I don't know much about OSs aside from the fact that I use them and they help me out. They actually in making computers simple. But yeah, I mean, that's also a thing. Just got to make sure it's simple, and Ubuntu does a very good job at being both sort of clean and simplistic in its design. So hopefully SteamOS will reflect a lot of that, because that is sort of one of the things I like most about Ubuntu, is just how just simple the layout is, but how effective it is. And also the nice thing is performance increase, like 30 some FPS increase for Left 4 Dead with OpenGL compared to DirectX on Windows. And for the people who are very like performance nuts, that's gonna be great. And I think that's great too. I'm not super heavy on that. I've got a pretty good rig, so I'll probably be able to make some good use of that. But I'm not there counting frames or making sure that I'm at 800 frames on max or anything, just intense like that. But you know, just better performance for a lot of games. If I have the if there's the ability to make something has better performance, why not? Why not? And so yeah, today was the first announcement, 10 a.m. There's another one at 10 a.m. Wednesday. So I'm kind of interested in the symbols that are shown. The first one was a circle. That was the SteamOS. The next one is a circle in brackets. So I'm going to assume that that's the Steambox itself, because Valve had sort of talked about the Steambox. They sort of had the ideas behind a sort of Steam console, if it were, which I imagine something like this will be, I'm going to guess, 3 different, this is just all going to be speculation right now. I'm going to guess 3 different sort of SKUs of Steambox. Obviously, it won't be, not necessarily be made by Valve, but I mean, just again, speculation. So there'll be like I see like a $100 one, which would sort of function like a Vita TV in a way. You just sort of plug that in to your TV, and you can connect that to that just uses SteamOS and to go with your PC you already have, and just stream the games there. Come with a controller or something. Hopefully they have a good controller, but that's aside from the point. Like say like a $300 one, which is sort of like a mid-level, low mid-level PC, and then a $500 one, which is more of a just like a solid mid-level PC. And again, that you would be able to control, have a lot more control over than just the set-top Steambox. Like you would be able to just straight up use this as a PC in a way, just with SteamOS, and just you could run games native off it if they were supported. Is sort of my thought on the idea, or at least the idea on a Steambox, I should say. That's sort of how I think about it. And yeah, I mean, I imagine that each one would probably come with some sort of controller. What I would like to see though is like a Wii U gamepad with x86 architecture. Oh, that would be great. Just Valve takes their sort of stab at the gamepad, because I still think the gamepad is pretty interesting. That would also work with the sort of streaming concept that SteamOS seems to be going for. I don't necessarily think that will happen. I can't really see that happening, but I think that would be very interesting, and definitely a move to go after at some point. I think Valve, that could work well. I think that could work well for Valve. I mean, it hasn't necessarily work very well for Nintendo, but if you could make a very capable, yet still good form factor of a controller tablet, if you were a gamepad, I think that would work pretty neat. I mean, I hear the NVIDIA Shield, while kind of dumb and expensive, isn't necessarily completely awful. So, and I'm sure that if Valve were to put the hard work into it, you could get something pretty great from them, I would imagine. Would be my thoughts. Now, the final circle, which I'm going to assume will be Friday at 10 a.m. Now, I'm actually going to be in class during that point, so I won't be able to witness it live, sadly. So just wait on Twitter and hope that Gaff isn't crashing every 5 minutes. So it's a circle plus a circle. So, in my more rational state, I'm going to assume that this means that SteamOS will be available for download that day. That's my semi-rational idea behind it. My just pure off-base crazy speculation is that it's the start of an ARG, and that everyone, well, in this case, it would also be this would also be in this crazy alternate reality where Valve has gone completely nuts. SteamOS is available for download, and it essentially works as an ARG where the more people who download SteamOS, the closer we get to Half-Life 3 available for public release. And so that's how you would we get like 1 billion people, 5 million people or something, download SteamOS, bam, you get, hey, here's Half-Life 3 on the store for you finally. You wait a long time and here you go, we had it cooking. We already had it done for 3 years, just wanted to wait for the right time. And something, maybe it'll be like this, or maybe they'll go just pure nuts and just make this SteamOS the new cell processor, where I can buy a SteamOS TV and a SteamOS refrigerator, and by doing this, I can just accrue more trading cards, I can accrue more items in my Valve games, and just the pure metagame that would happen at that point would just be insane, and everyone would be broke, because everyone would be buying these household appliances and necessities, and just they would be making off a ton of money. Who knows? I don't think it'll be that crazy. I don't think Crazy Ken Kutaragi is not working for Valve, as far as I know. So it's probably a little far off base, but it'd be interesting to see in a very strange, disgusting way of a whole line of SteamOS refrigerators or something. Who knows? That won't happen. I pray to God it won't. But yeah, I mean, overall, I think today was definitely an interesting day in terms of Valve news. I mean, in a way, we inadvertently got some confirmations of some new games being able to run, presumably run on Linux, like one of them's Europa Universalis 4, Rome Total War 2, Trine 2, I think, Football Manager, and Fallout 3. It's either Fallout 3 or Metro. I'm not really sure. I believe that's Fallout 3. And I think it's strange to say what can happen with SteamOS, because with the openness that Steam sort of has with the workshop, with the openness of Linux-based OSs, I'm just very curious to see what will happen. Like, is there going to be enough compatibility and just stuff in this OS where if I wanted to, I could just run SteamOS on my desktop PC, not have to use Windows, not really have to worry about it, not have to miss too many games, or preferably any games, and just would I be able to just stick it to the man, or what have you. I mean, that part probably won't come for a while. It'll depend on how many developers and publishers decide to get Linux ports for their games and how quickly. I don't really know. I mean, this is kind of I mean, there have been obviously the rumors of, oh, Steam's going to make a new OS, or they're going to have the Steam box. It's like the beginning of this year now, but actually sort of seeing the plans in motion is just it's kind of crazy in a way. Just I wouldn't. It feels like they're going way more all out than just simple. Hey, we slapped a Valve or a Steam logo on Ubuntu. Here you go, which is obviously a good thing. I mean, obviously, I don't just want Steam Ubuntu or what have you, but it's just. I mean, I guess the only thing is, hopefully, it'll come out soon. Hopefully, if there is a beta, it won't be too small, because I would really like to get in on that, and I really just like to explore, because again, I do like Linux, I do like Ubuntu, I do like using that OS. I think it's great. It's great for what I'm doing, what I'm planning on doing, without a doubt. And I mean, just I think if anyone were to any big console provider, or any big, or not console provider, but any big company, what have you, were to work on an OS like this, you know, I think Valve is probably one of the best companies we could ask for. I mean, in theory, Sony could probably make something. Nintendo, we probably wouldn't want them making an OS yet, or something like this. I mean, it's sort of like Wii U in a way, this whole SteamOS thing, the streaming thing, sort of not really. But I mean, just, yeah, I mean, we couldn't ask for anyone better than Valve, really. And so, we're just going to have to hope that they're not too cocky or arrogant about it, and hope that it just goes for the best. So yeah, I guess this is just my pointless little rant. And just me just basically saying like, yeah, like I'm gonna use it whenever it comes out. I think it's really interesting because, yeah, I mean, we get performance increases. If we can get just overall just performance increases in every field, then why not? I mean, just games can be better. Why not? And just sort of my speculation on what the next 2 days of updates will be. I don't know if I will be going for any future videos on the Valve announcements. Who knows? I might offer my thoughts on Friday, when everything is said and done. We finally know what the final two presumably are. So yeah, I mean, Dustin from 0 Second Cooldown. Just thought I would just offer my thoughts for a bit, and as such, here they are. Hope whoever listened, hope you enjoy. 0 Second Cooldown.blogspot.com.